Welcome. I'm Jordia Benjamin, Merkin Senior Coordinator of Programs and Audience Engagement at Colby College Museum of Art in Waterville, Maine. This is Artful Healing. Artful Healing is a part of the museum's wellness initiative under the larger program, Let Art Inspire. Our theme for the month has been Time to Let Go, inspired by the work of Martin Puryear up and over 2014. We have examined this work of art through the lens of yoga and meditation. And finally, today, we're here with healing. Now, before we begin the activity for today, let's first revisit and look at this artwork just a little bit closer. Martin Puryear was born in 1941 in Washington, D.C. He currently lives and works in upstate New York. He received his Bachelor's of Art at the Catholic University in Washington in 1963. He also attended the Royal Swedish Academy of Arts in Stockholm in 1961 to 1968 and received his Master's of Fine Art in 1971 at Yale University. In the 1960s, he volunteered with the Peace Corps in West Africa, where he educated himself in the region's indigenous crafts. He received his first one-person exhibition in 1968, and since then, he has exhibited throughout the world, including public commissions in Europe, Asia, and the United States. He represented the United States at the 1989 Biennale de São Paulo, where he was awarded the festival's grand prize, and his work was featured in Documenta in 1992. In 2007, MoMA organized a survey of his work, which traveled to the National Gallery of Art in Washington, the San Francisco Museum of Modern Art, and the Modern Art Museum of Fort Worth. In 2015, the Art Institute of Chicago organized an exhibition of 50 years of his works on paper, which traveled to the Morgan Library and Museum in New York and the Smithsonian American Art Museum in Washington. He received the MacArthur Foundation Award in 1989, the National Medal of Arts from President Obama in 2011, and in 2019 represented the United States at the 58th Venice Biennale. Puryear's abstract organic forms are rich with psychological and intellectual references that explores issues of ethnicity, culture, and history. Puryear's sculpture, made by hand with labor-intensive methods, often requiring months to complete. His techniques, developed over a 50-year career, combine practices adapted from many different traditions, including wood carving and, most recently, digital technology. Up and Over 2014 was exhibited at the Matthew Marks Gallery in 2015. The exhibition included works inspired by the form of the Fijian cap, or Liberty Cap, which was worn as a sign of resistance during the French Revolution and adopted as a symbol of liberty during the American Revolution. In the exhibition press release, Puryear explains, "Although I was certainly aware of the numerous depictions of this cap in European and early American art when I began to work on the big Fijian sculpture, I only discovered the engraved image of the black man wearing the red Fijian cap years after." This engraving is accompanied by the caption "Moi Nibirusi," I am free too, and dates from 1794, the year slavery was first abolished in France, only to be restored 8 years later by Napoleon Bonaparte and finally abolished permanently in 1848. Now, I'll turn it over to our partner, Bodhi Simpson, an art therapist and artist who will lead us in this program.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Artful Healing. My name is Bodhi Simpson and I'm an art therapist. As an art therapist, my role is to help people learn how to express themselves in creative ways. Once we can become aware of the energy creating our lives, we can make more conscious choices moving forward. Today, I'm going to guide you in a practice of learning how to let go and release of negative thoughts and heavy emotions that don't serve us anymore, using the creative process. So we all have a constant dialogue going in our minds. Sometimes they are thoughts that we'd like to be thinking about, and often they are negative self-talk or judgments or fears, worries, things that we'd rather not be thinking. And we also always have emotions. We also often have many emotions. And so what happens is we become really good at disconnecting and disowning certain emotional states because they're painful. And sometimes it's never been modeled for us, really how to handle these emotions, or we feel shameful for having them. So we stuff them deep down inside of ourselves, we disown them, and we hope that they'll go away. But what happens is they fester under the surface and they cause us suffering until we learn how to release them, how to express them. So my hope is that through today's practices that you can have a sense of what this experience would be like. So it's important that we let go of judgments. It's really about the process of what moves through you today. And if you're feeling resistance or feeling blocked to the process, it's okay. So we're really just being vulnerable and opening to a whole new process that maybe some of us have never experienced before. It's really up to you who you share this process with. This can be something very private in your own journal, or it could be something you choose to share with a therapist or a friend or family member if you want to express something maybe that you didn't know how to before. I'd like to remind everybody that this is not a substitute for therapy. It's purely a teaching of a process that works for me and for other people that I work with, time to practice something new. So if something is triggered that really is in need of deeper healing, I do hopefully invite you to seek out the support of a therapist, a friend or family member that can help support you through that. And where today is recorded, please feel free to pause the video at any time. So if you feel that you need a little bit more time to do a directive, just pause the video and take as much time as you need to until you feel you're ready for the next step. We don't want to feel rushed. Often it does take a little bit more time in the beginning to kind of get used to the feeling of opening and even being willing to face the truth. So we are really today engaging in a very gentle, loving process. We're giving love to ourselves as we face and honor the truth. So to prepare, I invite you to really find a safe and quiet space. A space, it could be in your home or it could be outside, where you're going to be uninterrupted for at least 30 minutes, and where you're going to turn off your cell phone, maybe sit in a comfy chair. I often recommend that people maybe consider having a comfy blanket or some tea, maybe lighting a candle if you're an adult. And often I recommend playing some music, but for today, I feel it'd be important to maybe have some silence because we are really working to get curious about what it is we're holding that we're ready to release. And sometimes music can influence what we're thinking about and what we're feeling. So again, recommending maybe trying not to have music. If music feels more comfortable, there's no right or wrong in any of this, so go for it. So what I'd like you to do is you're going to gather your materials mindfully and lay them out in front of you. And today's recommended materials are a piece of paper, it could be white or lined, and a pencil or pen for writing. And also some white paper for drawing. And it's up to you. I'm choosing 8.5 by 11 today, but you may choose larger paper or smaller paper based on what feels right to you. Also, I'm recommending chalk or oil pastels. Today I am using oil pastels, but feel free to modify drawing materials based on what you have at home. I often like, for these kind of process drawings, to use chalk or oil pastels because you can't really do too many details, but you can express the essence of a feeling state. And it's a lot harder to judge yourself because everybody's artwork looks like it's done by a 5-year-old when you're using pastels. So what I'd like you to do for today is we're going to get out our paper and our writing utensil. And we're going to start by giving our minds a job. We're going to engage in a free flow writing, kind of a warm-up. So what I'd like you to do is we're just going to take some time. We're going to allow the energy from your mind to flow down from your mind, down your arm, down through your utensil and onto the paper. And you're just going to take 3 to 5 minutes and engage in a free flow writing without judging, just allowing whatever you've been thinking about to come onto the paper. And what I'd like you to do is actually engage in this writing until you start to feel the energy of your mind kind of winding down a little bit. So it's kind of like a little gym exercise for the mind, because our mind often likes to take over and overanalyze. And so we want to really soften that part of our experience. So this may be a place where you pause the video or just take a little time and do some free writing. Okay. So when you feel you have allowed the free flow of everything you've been thinking about, really getting that off your mind, I'm going to invite that you put this away. So this is like a clearing in itself of just allowing yourself to become aware of what is on your mind, what you've been thinking about. And now what I'd like you to do, now that we've given our mind a job, is you're going to pull out your drawing paper and your drawing utensils. And I'm going to invite you to put your feet on the floor, and if you feel comfortable, close your eyes or just gaze down at the floor. And you're going to take a deep breath in through your nose till it almost hurts to breathe any deeper. You're going to hold it. You're going to breathe down through your body, down through your feet, down to the earth. Just take a few deep breaths, really triggering that relaxation response in your brain and your body. Bringing your awareness now from your mind down, dropping into your body. In order to heal, again, we must be honest and face the truth of how they're feeling. And so what I'd like you to do is just take a moment and get curious in your body. Get curious about what it is that you've been feeling lately. If you notice any resistance or fear coming up, that's okay. Maybe just breathing into the resistance, breathing into the fear. And in order to really know the truth of how our heart feels, we have to first open our heart. Some of us may have almost curled up in a fetal position in some ways to protect our hearts. And so today we have compassion for that part of ourselves that needed to protect ourselves. But what we know now is that in order to connect to the truth of how we feel and to release it, we must open. So what I'd like you to imagine is that I'd like you to breathe in through your heart space, the center of your chest. And as you breathe out through your heart space, and imagine your heart as a flower opening wide. And as you give yourself permission to open your heart space, you're opening to the experience of receiving compassion from yourself to yourself. Really making space to give yourself love, to believe that you're worthy of really expressing how you feel. Making space to be honest. So take a deep breath in through your heart. Just allow yourself to breathe in this love and allow it to expand through your body and enter into your cells. And as you engage in this drawing process in a moment, you're going to practice this feeling of staying open and staying present. Really staying in the felt experience of being in our bodies. And when you're ready, I invite you to place your hands on your heart, maybe put a little pressure there. Maybe give yourself a little squeeze, a little hug, caress your cheeks. Maybe smile and be amused that you're about to engage in this vulnerable process. And we're really not engaging in our mind. We're using our felt experience to guide us now. So now that you've checked in with your body, really tuning into how you're actually feeling, you may know how you feel, or you may not really know, but maybe you can feel where in your body you're feeling it. So what I'd like you to do is just gravitate to the colors that feel like the heaviness of how you're feeling. And what you're going to do is you're going to make some marks on the paper to express this emotion, this feeling state in lines, shapes, colors, really just allowing yourself play with pressure of the pastel. You might choose to smear it around. And so this is really starting to open up into a creative meditation process where you're growing your connection to this feeling state, which sometimes these feelings have never been honored in a conscious way. So it's quite a muscle that needs to be grown. Breathing in and out through your heart space. Allowing the truth of how you feel to become visible. Just breathing and staying present and honoring, getting curious about how you actually do feel. And you might find that as you create, you're drawn to other colors. You may find that one feeling leads to another. Again, we're not judging. We are purely expressing in form, visual form, of felt emotion. And just taking space to allow yourself to feel this feeling. Recognizing that you're in your safe space and that your paper provides a container, a safe container for this emotion. And as you create, I'd like you to practice taking a deep breath in and really imagine channeling, breathing those heavy emotions down through your arm and releasing them onto the paper. So as we start to become aware, our art becomes a mirror reflecting back to us the energy that's been under the surface. And using our breath consciously, we choose to continue clearing and releasing to become more and more aware. And you're just going to continue creating until the energy feels like it's been expressed. You'll have a sense of completion. And what I'd like you to do when you're done is take some time and put a title on your creation and put the date. And once you have your date, you have your title, I'd like you to take your creation, so clean up your supplies, really create some neutral space. And then I'd like you to take your creation and put it a few feet out from you. You may even leave the room and come back in And so what's happening is by creating this imagery, taking some separation from it, what happens is we're able to step into the witness perspective, where we can really get curious and honor our feelings, but there's a little bit of emotional separation because we're viewing it as we're feeling it. There's also some integration that's happening in our minds. We're connecting our hearts and our minds as we view. And what you're going to do is you're just going to sit with your image and take time and honor how you've been feeling. Again, breathing in and out through your heart space, staying open. If you find yourself closing up, just noticing it. And as you breathe out, just imagine opening up, sitting a bit taller. I'd like you to take another deep breath in, and as you breathe out, I'd like you to imagine releasing any other heaviness attached to this emotion or set of emotions onto your paper. You may choose to ask yourself questions in your mind or connect to your image through how you feel and what it reminds you of. Or you may choose to journal as you look at your image and ask yourself questions like, what happened? What was the trigger that caused me to feel this way? And what are other times in my life where I felt this way? And what defense mechanisms have I used to protect myself from feeling this way? You might also ask yourself if this was modeled for you, how to express your emotions. If it wasn't modeled for you, maybe having compassion for yourself and for those that raised you for not knowing how to model this for you. So again, witnessing this emotion and also bringing in compassion for yourself. If this emotion is related to somebody else, it also helps you to rise above the problem and have compassion for the other person involved. It really helps you to rise above the problem and really see the bigger picture so that you can heal. So it's really important, again, that we take space to be clear about how we feel, to honor how we feel, to be clear about what we're thinking about. And once we can see the heaviness that we've been holding on to, then we can decide, is this a feeling or an emotion or a thought that I want to be holding on to? Or is it something that simply was a reaction that helped me to learn? And you can make the choice now if you're going to put this in your journal for further exploration. You have the date on it, so you can do these often and you can kind of revisit how you used to feel and remember. You can do these drawings also to bring in how you'd like to be feeling. It doesn't have to just be heavy. But it's important to find ways to really honor the truth of how you feel. If you're ready to release this, I'd like to invite you to tear it up. Sometimes we're not quite ready. So it might be that you need to sit with the truth of how you feel for a while until it feels right, until it feels ready to let go. If you find yourself judging yourself for not being ready, just bring yourself back to your heart space, back to that place of compassion for not being ready. And when you are ready, you can do something to transform this. So again, it could go in your journal, which is a container, or you can choose to release. I'd like you to tear it up if you feel ready. I'd like you to put the papers in front of you when you're done. Kind of play around with them a little bit, kind of feel the lightness of them as you release them. And then throw them away. Put them in the trash. So after a meal, after you're done eating, you throw the leftovers in the trash. You throw the wrappers in the trash. We don't need to go poking around in the trash. So it's releasing consciously and choosing not to go back poking around in the trash. So I'd like you to take a deep breath in. And I'd like you just to feel, get the sense that you have just let go and released and become aware of what you were ready to release. And what this does is it allows yourself to make space inside of yourself for the new energy that you choose to bring in. A space to be conscious about what you want to be focusing your thoughts on. And from this space, you can take time to grow this connection to what it feels like to be clear and to be neutral and to make choices from a conscious, clear place. I thank you all so much for joining us for this Artful Healing experience. And I look forward to seeing you on the third Monday of next month for our next Artful Healing experience. See you then.
I hope you have enjoyed today's program, and I encourage you to spend the last week of this month journaling your wellness practice. I also encourage you to visit or revisit our previous programs this month, Artful Movements and Artful Meditation, both found on the museum's website and Facebook page. Be sure to like and follow us on all of our social media accounts at Colby Museum, and visit us on our website at colby.edu/museum to stay updated on all of our Museum at Home programs. Like always, from our museum home to yours, take care, and I will see you next month for another Artful Healing.